continue on to the top of the throat center where it's receiving this energy from the ajna to then express out the throat. So we're going to start off with gate 62, which is preponderance of the small and the gate of details with the voice of I think or not. Gate 62 is part of collective logical circuitry, and it links up with ajna gate 17.
This thinking is such a logical process, and it can only say it if it's got a handle on the details. And the thing is, 62 is constantly collecting details. Those details sit there as a metamorphic pool, a teeming little pool filled with tiny little detail minnows, just teeming away, waiting to be let loose into the wild seas, through what would happen with gate 16 and gate 17. They go right together like that. That's interesting. So gate 17 comes in with its basically the opinions of what doubt had pressured earlier. Doubt pressured a logical process. Sit down, think about it. The details becomes the metamorphic version of how I took that noise and that light and that picture inside my head and fleshed it out into words. Up here at the whole top of the throat center is this metamorphic process. That is the continuity up here more than anything. The three gates off the top are strictly there to handle conceptualizing an ajna, pressurized ajna business, which means nothing, and yet there's a mental toy box that is an awareness center jostling it through, measuring and comparing and juxtaposing this with that, this with that, this with that, coming up with its concepts. And that's a powerful process in us. And this metamorphosizes that mess into words easily, right? We talk easily. It's like blah, 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 blah. No shortage of words here on planet Earth amongst all the humans, So it does a good job. And it's natural for us.
Yeah. I always think of 62, like as you're saying, within context of the head center with gate 63 into the ajna gate 4 over to ajna gate 17 and onto gate 62, where that stream, it's like the scientific method. So as you said, the doubt of 63, right, wondering, doubting something, then gate 4 is that possibility. Maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. Then gate 17 is presenting the hypothesis with its opinions to answer the doubt, and then gate 62 is going to test out that hypothesis. So that's why I picked a little graphic of like a little scientist with a beaker.
Yeah, and it's gonna want to identify with a set of details that support that hypothesis, because we have to identify. We've had a whole debate over the last 4 or 5 years with all the science, right? Follow the science, all that good stuff. Plenty of those hypotheses. I don't blame scientists for being identified with. They had to, but again, the higher self that must contribute for the highest good. One of the profound principles of all of the throat center as a total aggregate of all of its gates for its highest good, the contribution, identified with is an impersonal, shared, collective process. So what? Learn to let it go. So with 62 and 17, it's called the channel of acceptance. So, and part of that acceptance is when to let go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a high expression of the scientific method, is to be detached from it. It's logical. It's cold.
It's totally identified. It looks exciting. Oh, it totally didn't work. That's okay. Something else will work.
It was just the process of it. Yeah, where it's just like science is a process. It's not like trust the science because it's one thing. It's like the science is always changing because you're testing it and it's in a process. So that idea of like you should be detached from it because you just want to test it. And like, I think it's this, maybe let's test it out and see. And then we'll test it again to see if it's still, and can someone else, replicate that test. So then you could really honor the scientific method without just getting personally attached to something because, well, I thought it was this. Well, it's not. You tested it and it didn't work out. That's okay.
Identified with is healthy. Attached starts to lead it to the not self. The not self mind attaches to things. In fact, attachment would be one of the keynotes for the not self mind. It's attached to every last thing that doesn't matter, and a couple things that do accidentally. That's its shtick. So 62, preponderance, right? Preponderance of the small. This trying to put all the details in one spot to get enthusiastic about. And the thing is, if you have 62 in your body graph, you sort of know that. Start to trust it. Start to trust it that if it was for you, the details you need showed up there. And don't beat people up with your details. It doesn't mean you're right. It doesn't mean you're right. And learn to accept opinionatedness doesn't help. That's you're too identified with at that moment,
Yeah.
and so a lot can come through this gate 62.
Yeah, it's like the expression of a hypothesis. That's what I tell my boyfriend because he has gate 17. He also has gate like 43 and 23. So it comes out as I know. So his gate 17 stuff would come out with the voice of the I know of like 23. And it just always felt weird. And then we started playing where he started saying, I hypothesize with gate
Right.
17. I hypothesize. I was like, oh, you hypothesize. It's like he sounded better. He sounded
Yeah,
like
because I think it's been hijacked, and when someone says, well, I think it's this way, it almost seems as if they're saying it is this way.
yeah, it could be fighty. Whereas like if you're like,
Yeah,
I hypothesize this, you're like, oh, he's sophisticated.
right.
And so I
And it's
feel like
less confrontational
yeah, and it just it's more accurate to again the
to
scientific
what's
method.
happening.
Yeah, and this 17 to 62, where you're like, it might be this, I think it might be this with that open-ended where it's like, oh, I hypothesize, like, oh, you sound fancy. So
Mm, mm. It's an incredible process that goes on here. It definitely is part of what separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom. All of this stuff is, by the way, but this for obvious reasons. This is the gate that gave us a lot of practical things to do with our disposable digit, practical things. We'll get to the less so practical on the other side.